Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are always telling Canadians that they're making these huge investments in EVs, that the whole world is going to be driving electric cars and Canada is going to lead the way. And I mean, you've heard them say it. Then, one company runs away from Kingston and Ford says, no, we're not doing it anymore. And so they stopped talking about it and they just started saying Volkswagen. Well, it turns out Volkswagen is not doing that well. They need to cut $10 billion from their operating budget in order just to stay afloat. It's so bad they're talking about closing plants in Germany, which is a promise they said they would never do right through to 2030. I mean, that's a promise that's been running for 20 or 30 years, if I remember right. Volkswagen says considering factory closures in Germany. German automotive giant Volkswagen said Monday it could close production sites in Germany as the auto industry struggles to manage rising costs. In the current situation, even plant closures at vehicle production and component sites can no longer be ruled out, Volkswagen said in an internal memo sent to employees and seen by AFP. Europe's largest automaker remained committed to Germany as a business location, but headwinds have become significantly stronger. Volkswagen brand CEO Thomas Schaefer was quoted in the document as saying, "The challenging conditions meant we must now step up our efforts to secure the long-term success of this company," Schaefer said in a note sent to employees. Volkswagen last year announced plans for a €10 billion savings program and had flagged cuts to its workforce over the coming years to improve profitability. But the group said further measures are now required after disappointing results published in August that showed a dip in profits. Rising costs and cooling demand in China also meant the group had to lower its profit margin forecasts for the rest of the year. The core of the Volkswagen Group now faces particularly significant challenges, the memo said. Despite the cost-saving measures already announced, the current development in the automotive market and the German economy demand further actions. The company's board has determined that brands within the Volkswagen AG must undergo comprehensive restructuring. The goal must be to optimize product cost, material cost, sales performance, as well as factory and labor costs. Simple cost-cutting measures are no longer enough, while the group said it was open to further job cuts, according to the memo. So I wonder, how is that going to impact the jobs in the auto industry in Canada? I mean, making the batteries is a component. In fact, one might argue it's a key component for an electric vehicle. It's not like they put in one battery like it's your pickup truck or your minivan or something. There's like dozens or hundreds of batteries in there in some cases. And they want to make cuts. And the way these guys are talking is the way that companies usually talk when they decide that they're going to move the whole entire thing out of the Western Hemisphere and put it down into a third world country so that they can pay people very little money. That's just the way that you're talking. Oh, labor costs are all of a sudden a problem. We're going to move it from Germany to, I don't know what country they might move it to that would be not paying their workers very well, but you can probably in your mind think of a couple of dozen. So when Justin Trudeau says that he's making investments and that Canadians are supposed to bend over backwards because Volkswagen is coming to Canada, it seems that Ford has decided not to come to Canada to build electric vehicles. In fact, they've abandoned building. They're only going to build hybrids now on one particular model of car. The battery manufacturer that was going to be going into Kingston, they have stopped building and they've left the country. Now Volkswagen has decided that they're going to start making cuts and start to close places for the components, and they're going to want to look for cheaper labor. Well, when you open an automotive industry in North America, you have to, assuming that the workers join the auto workers union, you're going to be paying them comparable wages. So how is all of this tax money that we threw at these companies benefiting Canadians? I think that it's time we realize that the Liberal Party has absolutely no idea how to generate money. Nobody on the far left knows how to make money. And that's why it's important that we look at being capitalists so that we can start to give the little guy money instead of just the corporations everywhere you turn. Because they'll cut and run first chance they get. Well. The far left is shaking and quaking in their boots now. Just like in France, Germany has elected far right groups to take control regionally, like statewide in Germany, which of course is only going to lead to the national elections. And in two regions, the far left coalitions were soundly defeated. To combine, they didn't get as much as one group. Now, there are two main groups. There's what they're calling the far right, and then they're calling the centrist. In this article, they're saying that it's a populist surge, right? Populist surge crushes centrist ruling coalition in Germany. The results deal another bitter blow to Chancellor Olaf Scholz and his deeply unpopular government. People on the ground have decided that they are not happy with the situation. They do not believe that the economy is the problem of, 5 years ago, and all of the same things are being said, only in the people are disagreeing. And so they have elected a group that is anti-immigration, or they have elected a group that is anti-elitist. Now there are two. There's one, the CDU, and there's one, the AFD. The AFD is flat out, point blank, we are for the people, of the people. The three-party in Scholz's alliance, the Social Democrats, the Greens, and the Free Democrats, between them got less than 15% in each of the two states. The FDP misses the 5% threshold for getting into either regional parliament, and the Greens fell short in this one state called Thuringia. The only Main Street party to do relatively well was the conservative CDU, which is projected to win in Saxony and finish second in Thuringia. And in Saxony, the PFD is supposed to be in second. So between those two states, the conservatives have won, I think it's like 75% of the seats. They actually had to do a little jury rigging and took away the power to give the veto power to one particular party. I don't want to go too far into the ins and outs of it because there's still tricks that the far left is going to play. Like those three groups are going to kick out everybody, and they're going to do just like they did in France, and they'll only run one so that everybody on the left gets to elect for one person. But the obvious takeaway from this is people are unhappy, and they are speaking with their voice. They are speaking with their vote. So all of the desires of the elites mean nothing. They might have told themselves that they're going to be able to brainwash people into thinking that they have to vote for them, or there's some kind of an ist. But I think that we again understand now, you and I, why they call it the silent majority. Because without complaining, without doing any of that, without throwing things, without protesting, they simply cast their vote in the direction that the leaders didn't want. They didn't say anything about it. They just did it. These three groups, the Social Democrats, the Greens, and the Free Democrats, are protesting in the streets because apparently they're only democratic so long as it benefits them. And as soon as they aren't democratic, they are, extremists. So saving the best for last, we're talking about freedom of speech and the attack on freedom of speech in Brazil by the Supreme Court justices. 5 of them have ratified upholding the one guy's decision to ban X because he can't control what Elon Musk says or does, and because he can't control what people are saying on that platform. I find it bizarre that the highest reaches of the world are the ones that are trying to shut you down. And we can see how this is exactly why freedom of speech needed to be enacted in the first place, because it is always the people at the top that are trying to silence the rest of us. Now, Elon Musk, who has a big... he also has Starlink, right, which is the internet from space, and he has quite a few customers there. However, because the judge couldn't get his way on the platform of X, he froze Starlink's accounts inside of Brazil. And now Starlink is saying, well, we're not going to stop allowing people to access X unless you unfreeze our bank accounts. So that's really funny. And apparently one of the biggest downloads that Starlink is getting right now is a VPN. So the sales of VPN have gone through the roof. I don't see how you're going to make this work. I mean, it's a very big market, right? Brazil has a lot of people in it. Apparently 20 million people in Brazil use X every day. 20 million people. They're not going to want to hear about because some judge thinks that a senator shouldn't say whatever it is to say. I think the judge is overstepping his authority. I think that the judge is there to look after the law, not to decide what the law is. But that's a different video, I suppose. Elon Musk says Brazil judge should go to prison in the latest attack after X ban upheld in the country. The ban was imposed over the weekend after Musk didn't name a legal representative before a deadline in a case going back months. And I covered that a little bit in another video. Basically what happens is they said you have to bring somebody from the X group or X organization into our courtroom and we're going to talk about it. But those people were threatened with imprisonment. So Elon Musk closed the doors to X and moved a lot of the executives out of the country to keep them safe. Of course, Brazil has this rule that if you have anything going on in their country, you have to have an office there. You have to have a representative in their country. Isn't that convenient? And you have to wonder why they would have that law based on what you're looking at here, based on the idea that they want now somebody that they can hold accountable. They want to imprison them so that they can tell Elon Musk what to do with his platform. That is simply having people say their opinion, right? I mean, most people, what is it, 190 characters? Think of the amount of problems this guy must be causing if that little bit of truth scares him this much. Of course, Starlink is not complying, and Elon Musk thinks that the judge should be put in prison for violating the Constitution and to not upholding his oath to protect the Constitution, the letter of the law in Brazil. What you and I need to take away is the overt hostility that the elites have to people being able to say their own opinion. Saying an opinion should not be grounds for prison. Saying an opinion should not be grounds for threats, should not be in any way, shape, or form the reason that you're terrified and afraid. And why are these people so hell-bent on silencing your opinion, on telling the world that how they feel about the conditions of their living? If they say something and other people agree with them, then there must be some truth in it. But that freedom of speech scares them. That freedom of speech makes them realize that the people don't like them. And it makes them understand that their behavior and their actions is something that the people disagree with. And those kinds of people can't handle it, obviously. All right, I'm going to wrap here. I want to thank you all for listening. I'll talk to you next time.